Welcome to the Hippo Pod, a podcast by Golden Hippo, an employee-owned, vertically integrated builder of some of America's most popular health and wellness brands. In this podcast, we spotlight the driving force behind our company's success, our exceptional team of hippos. Through candid conversations, our hippos will share their personal journeys, the lessons they've learned, and the Golden Hippo values they embody. This podcast is a space for them to reflect, inspire, and to share their knowledge with future hippos. So whether you're on your morning commute, taking a jog, drinking a cup of coffee, or maybe even applying to one of our positions, we invite you to join us on this journey of discovery. Listen in and be inspired by the stories that shape our unique and inspiring culture. I was so excited when you reached out. We haven't had a recording session with a copywriter yet. And that is one of the roles, multiple roles, that we are just always looking for that perfect person to join that team. And prior to me pressing record, we were just kind of getting into the weeds about Golden Hippo's, not to be super cheesy, golden reputation when it comes to copywriting. We're kind of like the top dogs out there. And like I was mentioning, I feel like I always knew that, but maybe being after here for a few years, it's like, okay, yeah, we're good at copywriting. We know that, but just to hear it from outside people trying to work here, it's really impressive. So with that, we'll kick off this recording. And we're going to lean pretty hard into your copywriting career and how you joined Golden Hippo in this prestigious role. So first off, just introduce yourself. Your name, how long you've worked here, and your job title.
Yeah, so I am Paula. I'm the senior copywriter here for one of our pet brands. I've been here for about a little over 4 years, 4 years and a handful of months. I know it honestly feels like I've been here for 4 weeks in a good way. I'm much more confident in what I'm doing. I think I was dealing with a ton of self-doubt, like with any new job, but Golden Hippo, not only I feel like we're the best in the biz as far as copy goes, but it's truly just so fun. So yeah, 4 years just breezed by.
So talk to me about your Golden Hippo story. So how did you hear about Golden Hippo? And let's talk about your trial process as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So for those listening, you're probably wanting to apply to a copywriter position at Golden Hippo. We do have a trial period.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I've heard it's intense. So I'll let you take it away. Just walk us through that story.
Yeah. So I suppose I should start from the beginning. So I was born, no, I'm just kidding. So I do want to start from the beginning and say that I come from actually a creative writing background. So I studied English as an undergrad, and then got my master's in fine arts in fiction, in creative writing fiction. Yes. Cool. So it's a little bit of a non-linear way to copywriting, but I have always been a writer. And so after grad school, I was trying to figure out a way to spend my days writing and copywriting. Copywriting just seemed like a really easy, not easy, it turned out to be quite challenging, but a really natural next step. And I'd always love advertisements, right? I've watched Mad Men. I mean, it's just like a very, I've always been interested in marketing and branding, in all of that kind of brand architecture, everything that makes a brand irresistible and timeless like that. I'm just all about aesthetics, the graphics, everything about it. So that made me interested in copywriting, and I got started with a very small to mid-size advertising agency in Orange County, and we had only about 6 or 7 people there, but we had some pretty big clients, and that is really where I cut my teeth on copywriting. And then I got burnt out so quickly. I was only there for a year and a half, but in my head, I was there for 10. Everything they say, I think about a lot of the things they say, for better or for worse, about that kind of ad agency world, where you're not in-house, is true. It was a lot of avoiding with clients, entertaining them in Vegas, going to trade shows and actually like working on the booth, everything. And then like still having to, write product packaging copy at the end of the night. So I got burnt out really quickly. And that'll happen when you're working with clients. So when I left that position, I was really looking for an in-house marketing, right? So I was really looking to also work with a team, because at my previous role, I had been the only copywriter there, which meant that I climbed really quickly. I was senior content strategy person within like 6 months. But I also meant I wore like 12 different hats.
Wow.
So you get burnt out really quickly. It was a lot of fun, and I got to write for some huge brands, but I was really looking for more of a balance and more of a collaborative space, because it doesn't matter. Like I was just like a big fish in like a really tiny little puddle. Whereas like, I think one of the best parts about working at Golden Hippo, it's like you are just one of an incredible team. And you're constantly being, I don't know, maybe this is definitely just me. It might be a copywriter thing too, but like if I'm not like being affirmed, it's like I don't exist, which is sadly the truth for me. So I was really looking for that kind of environment where I could grow alongside other writers that were also incredible. But before I got to Golden Hippo, as far as looking for a job, I just took the shotgun approach. I signed up for LinkedIn Premium and applied to every copywriting position that remotely caught my eye that was in-house marketing. So everything from, can I say other brands now? Of course, right? Like Reformation, Hum Nutrition, Thrive Market, everything. I was from like 9 to 5. I treated it like a work day. I treated applying for jobs like a 9 to 5. And I was literally, I paid for LinkedIn Premium. My free trial had expired. I was literally paying for it with no income, and just adding to my subscriptions. And I was DMing creative directors. I was DMing like marketers. I just was doing everything I could to stand out. And Golden Hippo was just in that, like, I don't know, I had a feeling, I think when I was reading the job posting, I think because of the specificity of the sample, they're asking for like just a pet health tip. And there was something about the job listing. It was pretty bare, but there's something about it that really stuck out to me. And once I made it through to the interview process, I was like, okay, I'm not going to mess this up. I am going to walk in here and tell my story, right? And then I hadn't been in a formal interview in so long that by the time I left, I was like, well, that was really good practice, Paula. Like, I'm so glad you showed up. And I really had to give myself pep talk. But yeah, I was invited to the trial.
Wow.
And then that's when things really started getting real. So I can talk a little bit about the trial process. Basically, it is a 2-week intensive training / pressure testing. And I don't want to say, when I say pressure testing, like I don't want anyone listening to kind of get turned off by that. It's really like we are seeing like where you are, because these are a lot of the projects that you will be working on if we were to take you on, right? So it's an intensive, it's almost like kind of like an incubator. Like you're in there really getting a feel for what the day-to-day will be like at Golden Hippo. So it's hard. It's really hard. In a good way though, I think. It's also a test for you too, to see if you want to stay on, right? But in many ways it can be alienating. I think just going back a little bit, the reason why applying to a job is so difficult in the first place is because you are like constantly asking yourself the question, like, am I good enough? Can I do this? over and over again. And that is just so exhausting. But then once you're in the trial, it's like you're in this a little bit of a limbo, right? You don't know whether you have the position or not. You're getting paid every day, which is fantastic. But it's an interesting space to be in because it's like so close yet so far. But it's also really exciting. You're learning a ton. And I think I had a very specific trial story. So if I can just like keep rambling on.
Please. I think this is I've been here 5.5 years and I don't know that much about the trial process. So I'm loving this.
Yeah. So basically this was all, I did my trial in 2018. So this was all when the office was like hustle and bustle, over 100 people here. It was insane. It was like during Christmas time. So the holidays are very lit at Golden Hippo. That's like when we have like tons of parties. It's so fun with a tree lighting ceremony, etc. But that was all during my trial. So I was just like so overwhelmed. But I actually, I lied. And when they asked me to do the trial, they're like, is it possible for you to drive here and, do the trial, commit to the trial? And I was like, yeah, of course. Absolutely. I lived in Orange County at the time, which would mean on a good day, on a really good day when there was like no traffic, which is never, it would only take me about 2 hours a day to get from my house to work and back. But usually with traffic, it would have been almost over 4.
No.
I was deep in it. Yeah. So I've never told anyone this before, which it's kind of like embarrassing for like how hard I like ride for Golden Hippo, but I got an Airbnb. I literally got an Airbnb in the Valley by myself to do the trial. Like
Whoa.
I know seems so extra now, but I was like, okay, like I need to invest in myself. Like if I want to show up every day to this trial and really focus and give it my all, I can't be sitting in 2 hours of LA traffic beforehand, trying to fight through LA traffic just to sit at a desk for the next 8 hours or so, trying to write my best. It's just not going to work out. So I decided to get an Airbnb, which is, hopefully not the case for anybody else. It just so happened that I did not live in LA yet. And I was just still trying to figure it out. But there's a part in the trial where you do have to write a sale email, and it's kind of like the make or break portion of the trial, because it's before that you were kind of you're pitching these ideas for these emails that are more tips and lifestyle and more you're not doing any hard selling yet. So once you get to the sale email, this is kind of like the tipping point for a lot of trials. And I knew that I was getting good feedback so far. I had impressed them. I certainly had at least, by the very least, charmed them. Like I was in there somewhere, but I hadn't shown up in the way that I needed to get the position. And so I was leaving my weird Airbnb. It was like a unit within other units. It was wild, Tana. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know how I picked the place, but I was like, okay, I had my keys in my hand and I was like, okay, I need to just get in there, write the sale, and this is it. This is the last piece. And I walked out and it was pouring rain. This was in December, mid-December, pouring rain. And I get in my car that I've been driving since 2010 and it won't start.
No.
And I was so stressed out. I felt like I was under so much pressure that, normally I would be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just call an Uber. But I'm just like, I have to call an Uber. Like it seemed so wild to me that I couldn't drive my car to get to work on time. And there was also this agreement with the Airbnb host that I had to actually move my car from the place it was at because they were doing some yard work.
Stop.
So I was so stressed out. And I was like, I literally can't move my car. I don't know. How do I get there? Like, it was just like in any other scenario. And now I know this. Working here, I could have just slacked my the trial manager and just been like, hey, I'm gonna be 15 minutes late. But I'm just like, I'm gonna be late. It was like this, like, the world was really coming down on me as I was standing in the pouring rain, just sitting in my car. And so I had to message the Airbnb host and tell him that I could not move my car because something was going on with the battery. It just wouldn't turn on. And I was explaining the situation to him. I was probably unloading a little bit because I was so stressed out, and I was telling him like how I had to be at work in this moment, and so I couldn't wait for a mechanic. And I was like, kind of like, I was just in this pickle. I was in this bind, and he was like, oh, no problem. I know a mechanic. He can just come to the Airbnb and work on the car while you go handle your stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fantastic. And he was like, no worries. Like, go handle it. No problem. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. So, okay, the car's gonna be taken care of. That's lovely. And then I was like, okay, get an Airbnb. So I get myself into an Airbnb, and the driver is from the Bay Area, where I'm originally from.
Oh.
And so we start talking, and she ends up, we find out that we were born in the same hospital in Berkeley, about like 10 years apart, but in the same month. So, and she's like talking to me, and she's just like, like us, like we're from the Bay Area, like people from the Bay Area, they are built different. They have an edge to them. They have an X factor. You like, and like, oh my God, I'm like getting emotional. This is like the first time I've told this story. And I was so stressed out. I was like telling her like how much was riding on this job, and like how much, and I was just like, yeah, like, I don't know, like I have so much wrapped up in this opportunity. And like, this is like, we're getting to the end point where like, I'm going to find out if I have it or not. And it's just like so much pressure has been built up this moment. And she was, so right before she drops me off in the office, and she like turns around in the car seat, and she was like, you are the only person who can make this happen for you.
Wow.
So you don't have a choice. Like, this is for you. This is for you, and you're the only one who can make this happen. So go do it. Yeah, it was such a powerful moment, because I felt like I started the day trying to turn my car in the storm, thinking like the universe was against me.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, it just like felt like maybe the universe was conspiring for me. Like, it was just like everything, and it's just so, of course, like situation was so overblown in my mind. So it seemed very dramatic at the time that maybe, I don't know, maybe I was on the right path, like that things were happening for me to help me to get to this point. And I think the idea that like the universe is working with you, not against you, is such an important mentality to have when you're looking for a job, when you're trying to figure out where you stand in the world, and when you're trying to find your footing in that way. Like, that idea that maybe things will work out for you. Like, I think you really do have to believe that. And so I kind of like took what she said, the fact that like, I'm the only one who can do this for me. I'm the only one who can make this happen for me. And I sat down and did my best, and was told that I got the job about like 5 hours later.
Wow. Paula.
Yeah.
That's like a really powerful story. I was also like tearing up. Yeah, that's just, and what a powerful like takeaway, like just the universe, as if you think the universe is conspiring against you, like those thoughts and that energy and that mentality can be reversed, and you can think like, oh, but maybe it's working for me.
Exactly.
And that's just, yeah, that's, shout out to the Uber driver.
I know.
Whoa.
She was great. Yeah. 5 star.
Yeah. 5-star review. That is an amazing story, and a super helpful like deep dive into the trial process, because, and like everything you just said, I have heard it's like an intense, emotionally no, I don't want to say draining, but like you put a lot of yourself into that trial period.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like this isn't like a normal job. This isn't a normal trial period. Uh, wow. So I kind of want to back up a little bit because I had a few questions along the
Yeah.
way. For the people listening, what tips would you have when it comes to like your sample and your
Yes.
writing sample and that LinkedIn outreach? How did you make yourself really stand out?
Yes. So whenever a company, whether it's ours or another one, asks for a writing sample, I would say write as clearly as possible. I think that is, I mean, it's such a basic tip, but especially if you come from a more creative background, if you come from a creative writing background, for instance, you are trying to pack as much into each sentence as possible and really be funny and be witty. But what you actually need to do is be clear and persuasive. Those are the two things you need to do. And that is how you're going to stand out, is if you can explain something really well in just a few punchy short sentences. If you can just persuade me to do something as clearly as possible, you have my heart. Like, that's it. I think that is the key to a great writing sample, is really just answering the question clearly and conversationally. And of course you can be entertaining, you can be fun, you should be. But if I get turned around and lost within within a sentence, it's going to be challenging to get through the piece. So I think that was like one of the biggest takeaways. And that's something I had to learn too. I actually got a note back on the writing sample that I applied with at Golden Hippo, and it was to make my sentences shorter. And yeah, I think that is something that all beginning copywriters need to learn.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really great tip. Can I ask who your hiring manager was? Like, who was on
Yes.
your interview panels and stuff?
Erin, Anastasia, and Shelly.
Oof.
Yes. Yeah. So those.
I just say oof in like in a really great, like, impressive way, not like those. That's like the powerhouses right there.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know that until I had already been hired. But like in the interview, it was like it didn't seem. I felt like there was a lot riding on. Like, I didn't know who these people were yet, but I was just like, okay, I just need to tell them entertaining stories that had like punchy endings that all circulated back to the fact that I'm a star. Like, that is just like, I was just like, I have a captive audience and they will probably not move and listen to me as long as I tell them interesting stories. So that's like, was really my strategy there.
Wow. It's so interesting. Well, so I was working here when you joined, but I've always known you as like one of the powerhouses. Like, when I think of like the copywriting team, yeah, no, I do. So it's so like, and you have always been like a very normal person, but it like normalizes you to hear like your beginnings and how you really like that, to hear that struggle, because and to see how you've grown. Like, but again, like, to me, you've always just been one of like our star copywriters. So, wow.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I think I recently actually found my writing sample that I used to apply here. Hot trash.
Wait, really?
Whoa. Yeah. Startling. I'm so glad that they took a chance on me and asked me for revisions because, yeah. And I think I stood out. I definitely stood out in the right ways, but like I think even like your first writing sample to your last piece of writing that you do in the 2-week trial, the amount of growth that happens in that 2-week trial is pretty startling. Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's really, you have to, and this isn't true for every copywriter. There's some copywriters that it's just like they just naturally kind of fall into it. But I mean, of course, everyone has a lot to learn, but if you come from a writing background, you have to unlearn certain things. You have to unlearn certain ideas you have about what makes strong copy, because that's really not what we do here. At Golden Hippo, it's DR copywriting. It's a very specific style of copywriting. And I think if you come in thinking that you are like, if you come in here thinking like holding on to those kind of old ideas about like, or those past ideas about what strong writing is, like it's going to be so challenging for you. So I think that's my other thing. It's like, really just be open, just be a sponge and just soak everything up the trial, because like you're going to learn an incredible amount even in those 2-week period.
Wow. And for our listeners, DR is direct response.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, perfect. See, it's interesting to hear. And like when I'm on the back end seeing our applicants, we get a ton of copywriting applicants, right? Because as we were talking, like Golden Hippo really is like the gold standard for direct response copywriting. So we get a lot of applicants, but how many of those applicants actually move forward to the 2-week trial period? Maybe not a whole lot. And it's just everything we do here at Golden Hippo is so like unique to Golden Hippo. It's almost like you have to unlearn everything you've like learned. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I think going back to your initial question, like how, like, when you're asking me about actually reaching out over LinkedIn to these people. So another tip that I have is like, look at your cover letter and resume and writing sample as 3 different opportunities to market yourself.
Ooh.
Because I hear a lot like that, cover letters are passé, right? Like cover letters are annoying, etc. But if a company is asking you for a cover letter, that's just another opportunity to show them who you are and why you should work there.
Yes.
Even I think Golden Hippo, this is I was hired in 2018, so we don't ask this anymore, but it was like, tell me who you are in like 140 characters or something. Do you remember that question?
I remember that question very vividly. Yeah.
And I was so excited about that. I think if I was another person, I would have been like, oh my God, like, how do I even but I would say like, take every opportunity, like every question that they ask you, like every asset that they ask you for, like take it as an opportunity to be persuasive and market yourself and show them who you are. So on my cover letter, the intro sentences on my cover letter, that's how I got second round with Reformation and Hum Nutrition.
Wow.
Is by the first 2 sentences in my cover letter. And I know this because they called me to talk about it. And they're like, this is like the hiring manager at Hum Nutrition was like, I was just so charmed by your cover letter. And I cannot wait to introduce you to our founders. And I was way in over my head because she was like asking me for my portfolio. And my portfolio at the time, Tannum, was like memes that I had made for past clients. And it was like not what she was like, I want to see like all the funnels you've like created, all these landing pages. I was just like Googling funnels, comma marketing. Like I didn't know so many of the terms that she was saying. So I sent her my memes and they let me know that they had filled the position.
Oh no.
But the cover letter got her attention. And basically my formula was I would tell them, like within the first 2 sentences of the cover letter, I would tell them how their brand has personally affected me. So for Reformation clothing, love them. I told them how one of their dresses gave me the confidence I needed to meet my boyfriend's parents at the time. And how it like made me feel as a woman and how blah, 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 blah. Fabricated. You think I could afford Reformation? No, I was unemployed, Tannum. But Hum Nutrition, I did the same thing. I told them that I had taken some kind of like stress related gummy or something that they have, like some like I don't know, ashwagandha product that they have before presenting like a huge deck to this client that was major for me at the time. And I think like grabbing their attention with that kind of emotional, personal story, it's a formula that works for any position, I think.
That is a hot tip.
Yeah.
Really is. So did you do that for Golden Hippo as well? Because I'm thinking in 2018, if your job description mentioned like a pet brand, you kind of had like an inkling as to what like the copywriting would be about. But as we were talking, like Golden Hippo is like a little bit mysterious about
Right.
the brands that we create. So how did you do that for Golden Hippo's cover letter?
So I knew the position was for a pet brand. So I just talked about my love for animals.
Mhm.
And I went really kind of dug into that, but I didn't have a pet at the time. I didn't have my dog at the time.
Oh,
So a lot of it was not fabricated, but I just really talked about how like how much I don't know how I've just always loved animals. I've just always been an animal person. And how like yeah, talked about like how much I could offer there without mentioning that of course I didn't have a pet of my own.
right. Oh, that's awesome. So this has been I feel like I could keep talking to you about like your experiences and yeah, and you're an amazing storyteller. Ooh, which I feel like you also kind of have to be as a copywriter, which makes
Absolutely.
sense now. But I want to dig in a little bit to the team. So
Yeah.
I think the copywriting team, it's maybe our biggest team at Golden Hippo, I think. And I think you guys are such like a tight-knit community. So I kind of just want to dig in a little bit into that. What's the culture like on the team? Can you explain Aloha Fridays?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So what's interesting, so we have a huge team, but and such an incredible energy on our team. And we've been able to keep that and cultivate that with a lot of our remote workers who are also on the team. We have a fair amount of us who are actually remote. So it's really interesting how we have been trying to, we've been kind of created this culture with our remote team members. But I say this in every interview. I was just in an interview before and I was like telling them like the most, like the most fun part about being on this team is that like everyone is truly energized and enjoying what they do. And they're totally bought into the copy that they're writing. And it's like, you will always, someone is always working on something awesome and they're excited to like share their successes and like so you can copy them, right? Where it's a really collaborative environment that it's like I don't know, the vibes are always high, even though sometimes you're gonna have a stressful day, it's gonna feel like a grind, but like everyone is having a really good time and really fun, and like everyone is just like energized about driving revenue. I affectionately call the copywriting team the sales team because of the numbers we put up. And I think you kind of, it's palpable, that kind of energy. I think when you walk into our section, when it's like kind of like a rowdier day, we're excited about the work and we're excited to dig into it and share what we're working on. But yeah, Aloha Fridays, that was born out of like a really bleak time, like pre-COVID, but just the spring before COVID, I would say. So everyone was like generally like pretty anxious and bummed out. And so I don't remember who, I think maybe Alyssa created it, where we would all wear Hawaiian print and like Tommy Bahamas really is what I'm saying. We would all wear like Tommy Bahamas, like tiki style clothing on Fridays. And I'm talking about like sunglasses indoors, leis, fedoras, like it's just, yeah, we would be in costume at our desks. So that's just one aspect. We don't really do that anymore, but I would say like, yeah, we have like tons of little like fun, like team events, virtual events. We just had like a really fun baby shower for one of our remote team members that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting in person yet. But yeah, it's truly like the copywriting team here is like so incredible, so much fun to work with, and I think really tight knit.
Yeah, every time when we were in the office, often every time I'd walk by the copywriting area, I'm like, they're having so much fun. Like that just seems like a really fun team.
Yeah.
But you guys kick ass. Like it's beyond just like having a fun, great time. For our listeners, we just hit our KPI goals for the first time in 2023, which
Yep.
the copywriting team took us over the finish line with, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you guys touch everything we do at Golden Hippo, the copywriting team touches. SMS, text, video, our careers page, like goldenhippo.com, like literally everything. Our company video. Christina wrote that entire script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And I think that is what sets Golden Hippo apart from other like in-house departments or like other copyright. If you are copywriting in another company, you won't necessarily see the revenue that's tied to your work. But at Golden Hippo, everything we do is able to be tracked. So it kind of gamifies the experience. So I'm able to really like, there's like this kind of competitive spirit I have with myself because I'm always trying to crush my last record because I know how much my last piece of writing made. So it makes it really fun. It just like makes it just kind of this game with myself.
That's awesome. And I think it speaks a lot to the transparency at Golden Hippo. Like, I mean, every Tuesday we discuss where we're at with all these like VSLs and where we're at in revenue. Like, it's just, we're all very like transparent. Like you can see exactly how much your unique link generated of this one email, you know?
Yeah, that's totally unique. I mean, when I was working for my past ad agency, I would just like write copy and hope it was good and hope it performed, but I really had no idea. But here it's like, I know exactly where I stand and like how to crush it next time.
That's amazing. I really do want to keep talking. I know I have a few more questions.
Yeah, please. I'm free. Yeah.
Okay, cool. What makes you excited to open up your laptop every day and begin writing? Ooh, and then on that note, how do you stay creative?
Yeah.
With the writing?
Yeah. I mean, I think what gets me excited, I think, is really what I said about like the gamifying the experience. Like, because I know, like, because we have such clear like revenue goals, everything I do, I think kind of like drives that forward. And so that's really exciting to me. It's like, if I can like beat my last revenue record, like that is really what energizes me. And also I work for a pet brand. So I love, writing my little dog and cat stories, and our products are incredible. I would use them even if I didn't work here. And I really feel so inspired by our brand, truly. So that, I think that gets me excited. And also the people. I mean, Golden Hippo, like the people who work here, I think everyone is kind of, I don't know, like the energy here is totally unique. It's really exciting.
Nice. And everyone's so nice. Yes. Like I've worked at companies that I will not mention, where there was like, quite a few bad eggs that would really affect like my mental health and just like my day-to-day like experience there. But like for the most part, like, after we've been here like 4+ years, like everyone's really nice. Like everyone's so approachable. Like I feel like Shelly, for example, like top dog, badass person.
Yeah.
But so approachable. Like I still feel like I can just like Slack her and ask her a question,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And same with you. Like, no, really. I was so, when you reached out about this podcast, I was like, oh wait, Paula's so cool.
No way.
I'm nervous. I cannot thank you enough for this. Like truly, we might have to do like a part 2, because I think this was just so helpful. So helpful for honestly anyone looking for a job, but then also the copywriters who really want to make it at Golden Hippo.
Yeah, I mean, I would love that, Tana. And this is actually our first conversation we've ever had together. I think we have really good chemistry. So
yes, I know, seriously, like I might actually hit you up about a part 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I forgot to mention that I was looking for a job for like 3 months. So I'm a wealth of knowledge in both of my successes and failures, trust me. So
I think it speaks so much to like your processes and hearing like what you went through to get to this point. It speaks so much to who you are as a person, like your drive, your like relentless, like, I'm going to get there. Like, this is going to happen for me
Yeah.
and I will get there and I will do this. Wow. I feel very inspired.
I'm so glad.
I do. Thank you so, so much again. And I really do think so many people are going to take away a lot of like helpful information from this conversation. So thank you.
Absolutely. I hope so.